It's a full house down at tricycle.tv today. We're very lucky to have Mr. John Nation down here.
Afternoon, Paul.
How's it going, John? You alright?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. And yourself?
Cool. So, could you tell me a little bit about yourself, John? Who are you? What do you do?
Okay, right. I'm best known in Bristol for my involvement with graffiti and Bristol street art culture. I was formerly a youth worker in the 80s, working with young graffiti
Hello,
artists.
Bristol. Come and get your char here. It's
There.
nice and nice and nice.
And at the moment, for the last 4 years, I've been doing Bristol street art tours with Rob Dean from Where the Wall, where we showcase Bristol's creative culture to a wider audience, where we get tourists and generally people interested in the art come from all around the UK, all around the world, and we mainly cover two main areas, central Bristol's Nelson Street and of course the beating heart is Stokes Croft.
Sure. I heard you on the radio the other day. You were on, was it BBC Radio Bristol?
BBC Radio Bristol. I regularly get contacted
Yeah.
in relation to, usually when Banksy work appears, they contact me, they see me as some kind of expert. No, I'm not an expert, I'm just someone with a passion and belief in love of street art and especially Bristol culture. And I got asked on the show literally to do a 3-minute interview, a little section called Ask the Expert, revolving around how I first met Banksy, what did I think in relation to the work in London, and yeah, generally I always get approached by various media in Bristol to talk on the subject of street art and Bristol culture, really.
So the Banksy's got this latest work in the French the consulate or whatever.
Cassette.
It's been covered over, is it?
It's been boarded over literally within, I'd say, a 12-hour window span of the work. One, because you had people
kind of like
trying to remove the work, coarsely and crudely. And secondly, I think one of the reasons it was covered over is because of where it was, French embassy, political probably pressure meant that they wanted it covered over.
Right.
And yet again, trying to silence a voice that's highlighting a major issue that is going on in the world at the moment, which is the European migration and what's happening. The piece was mainly drawing attention to what's happening in the jungle camp in Calais, the way that the camp is being targeted constantly by police and tear gas and rubber bullets. They're trying to clear the camp, and Banksy just had a link on his work to a film that appears on YouTube showcasing footage of what was happening in that camp.
Wow.
It's a good social commentary piece, and that, like all of Banksy's work, is where he strikes a chord with many people.
Yeah. What do you love about Bristol then? What
do I love about Bristol?
Yeah, what do you...
I'm a proud Bristolian and I love Bristol simply. I think in part it's a city created by its citizens. It's got a lot of great points and a lot of negative points. One of those negative points being the Lord Mayor. And
who?
The Lord Mayor.
Who's that?
Mr. Ferguson.
Oh, Ferguson, right.
Who obviously is running again this year. Hopefully a lot of Bristol people will come out and vote this year, simply because I think last time he got in on an apathy vote, a lot of people didn't vote for the inherency of the Lord Mayor opposition. And there are a lot of things that have gone on in the city that people have opposed what he's implemented, but then I'll tinge that with there are people that have supported some of the things that he's been involved with. But in the same breath, it's good to have dialogue, debate, and it's good that someone like yourself is also standing as an independent.
Yeah.
It is.
Are you going to consider running then, John?
Would I ever consider running?
I think you get quite a few votes. No?
To be honest, Paul, not me.
No,
when I was younger, I was highly political.
Yeah.
Especially growing up in a working class area of the city, Barton Hill, which suffered from all the issues that you'd associate with it.
So, can you tell us a little bit about that, about the dugout and stuff then in Barton Hill, John?
So, my background was I was a youth worker in Barton Hill in the mid-80s, where the full-time youth worker there decided he wanted the young people of the area to take a more proactive role in their environment, their youth club, and I became one of the youngest youth workers ever employed by the local authority. At that time was Avon County Council, which was a Tory-controlled local authority. A lot of the work that I undertook at the centre was deemed as maybe being left-wing, some of it being deemed as subversive. The project came and got a lot of exposure via my graffiti project. A lot of the exposure was good, but there was also a lot of negative exposure. It was also targeted by the police in what is still the biggest ever anti-policing graffiti operation in UK's history, Operation Anderson, where I was arrested on a conspiracy to incite individuals to commit criminal damage charges. They wanted me to divulge names and information around the young people I work with. I totally refused to do that because I gained young people's confidences, and I wasn't about to dispel and betray those young people's confidences. And where I gained the respect in that premises in that project was because I was a young person myself working with young people and had lived and had working experiences and living experiences akin to those young people.
I mean, that was a job for you, but it sounded like it was more than that. It wasn't just a job, it was something that you really cared about.
It wasn't just a job for me, it was a way of life, it was a passion. I passionately believed in youth work. I passionately believed in young people's voices and opinions being expressed and being heard, because the media is controlled by people who don't want to hear or publicise and broadcast the opinions, particularly of working class young people or those disaffected with education in the political system.
I mean, some of the people that went through, you would have met them, like Tricky, Massive Attack, those...
I basically not only was involved heavily with graffiti and street art in Bristol, but obviously I've come through many generations and eras of Bristol music, so I've formed good friendships with many Bristol musicians, DJs, producers. So obviously I know a lot of people personally like Tricky, like the guys from Massive Attack, many of the DJs and producers and club promoters who've come through the various genres of the last couple of decades. I was involved with the Ashton Court Club stage at one point. I've always been an advocate of Bristol creative culture, whether it be art or music. It's a great city. And at the end of the day, it's got a lot of positivity in this city, and that is also twinged with, there is also a lot of negativity associated with the city. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why I like you, John, actually, is because you do shine a light for people, and I take a lot of inspiration from that, trying to be a little bit of hope in the darkness, you know.
I think that basically, at the time when I was working in Barton Hill, that's what I was trying to do, was just transform that dark, drab, concrete environment into a bright beacon of hope for young people, and that if anything came out of it, that young people could follow their aspirations and dreams. Many of them at school were disaffected with the school system. Many of them were told that their lives wouldn't amount to anything. And I think a lot of the young guys that came through Barton Hill Project as artists are a testament that you can, with someone like myself, harnessing and channeling their energies into a positive way forward, make something of their lives. And people like Banksy, who attended my project, said that what was powerful about the work that I did there is it showed that you could go on and follow your own crazy little dreams, and that Barton Hill was an inspiring place back in those days, and I've still got that positive vibe and positivity within me that Bristol is a great city in general.
Amazing.
It really is.
So you got married as well. Was it last year, wasn't it?
I got married last year.
Yeah, fantastic.
Long overdue, to the love of my life, Cath.
Lovely.
And at the end of the day, I no longer live in Bristol. I live in Gloucester, where I've lived for the last 2 years. But I come back every weekend to do my street art tours in Bristol.
Sure. And
Bristol is always in my heart and forever will be.
Lovely, John. Excellent.
Pleasure.
Cool.